Welcome back to the Gone for 10 show. Obviously, if it looks like Baxter's a bit rough over there, if you've been
Oh,
sleeping underneath a rock, the Parramatta Eels have knocked out the Cowboys. He's jumped on the Mad Monday bandwagon. Baxter,
oh,
how's
mate.
Mad Monday going and how are you feeling?
Oh, mate. Mad Monday in Bali is pretty cool. As soon as that siren went, jumped on the plane. Oh, don't even start with that music. Because it's not too bad. It wasn't that bad. Wasn't bad. It wasn't like it's not like we made the dance before the big dance every year for the last 5 years and never crossed that hurdle. But nah, look, Mad Monday's been pretty good. Been kicking it on with the can in Bali with the boys. Ruben Cotter, he's going hard. Val Holmes is keep competing, but the one that's the loose unit is Chad Townsend. He's a mad dog up there. So, mate, how's your week been?
Mate, my team was knocked out a few weeks ago. Obviously, the girls did go out this week, but it is what it is. But we are here to talk about that Friday night clash. It was the Cowboys 20, the Eels 24, possession 54-46, completion rate 83 to 75, errors 6 to 11, all run meters 1,857 to 1,611. For the Eels, it was Will Penasini opening the scoring in the 6th, Gillard in the 18th and 57th. Marco Sivo in the 64th, and Mitchell Moses 4 from 5 with the boot after you mocked him when he missed that one kick and they scored off the next set. And for the
Oh,
Cowboys, you take it away, mate. Talk me through those Cowboy scorers.
I'll get on to that mockery in a minute, but Ruben Cotter in the 11th, Big Lucci, 25th minute, Murray Talangai in the 52nd, and Val Holmes, 4 from 5. The whole mockery, you and I were in the same room watching the same game together. And as you know, my mum's a Parramatta fan, and she never ever, up until this moment, she never ever asked her father, who was a beloved Parramatta supporter as well, for any help. Because in the past, when she does ask for help, usually the Eels lose. So she kept a lid on it. And here she goes. She's like, "Come on, Dad! Come on, Dad!" And Mitch Moses just kicks it really wide. And I just said, "Mum, you shouldn't have said anything because you just brought the hoodoo back into your life." But obviously, she had the last laugh, and yeah, it was off to the big dance for once.
Well,
To
it was funny because
all the people who messaged me, like, just giving me shit. Like, there were some who were, being really good about it, and there were some who just gave it to me and just went, I think maybe borderline crossed that threshold there. And all I said was, great game. Enjoy it next week for what it's worth, because, mate, it's probably the one and only time you're ever going to enjoy a grand final week for a while. So, yeah.
Well, like you said, obviously I was there when the mockery, as per se, was put on, and I did say I wouldn't cheer too early. I think something might happen here, and they might score off this set, and obviously they did go in. But we'll jump into the big fin, and I'll play this one more time quickly. Controversial Cowboys knocked out of the finals. That's what we're
Uh,
here about. Hello, darkness, my old friend. It's back again. Mitchell Moses, forward pass.
uh,
Yes, it looked worse when you first saw it. The more you look at it, it was still forward, but it wasn't that 3-4 meters, which some people were saying on the night. Um, I'll let you tackle this one first. Talk me through the forward pass and what were your thoughts, and did it cost you the game ultimately on the scoreboard? It might say yes, but did it really cost you the game?
yeah. If you take the forward pass and rule in a no try, maybe we do win it by 2. Look, as I said, Will Primacy crosses in the 6th minute, which was coming from that forward pass incident. Did it cost us game? No. My judgment's no, because there was 74 minutes left to play the match. So one try doesn't really destroy your whole game that early on. We're leading 20-12. So to say that that forward pass ruined the game, I don't think so. So we'll move on from it. You hear people talk about putting, like, the bunker should rule on forward passes. It's always been the rule that the referees have to call the forward pass, that bunkers shouldn't rule on forward passes. And I like the rule as it is, because, as soon as the bunker gets in called, it goes, how forward does it have to be called a forward pass, Also, another one, the ball might come out of the hand backwards, which is in the rules of a backwards pass, and it might float forward, which is still in the rules as a backward pass. So then does that get called a forward? It's too controversial there. So let's just keep it how it is, and maybe the bunker sort of needs to take a step back and be less involved next year.
Yeah, totally agree. Obviously, it is a tough one to call because obviously we see some calls get forward because the player gets absolutely smashed as he passes it, and you go, you know what, that was probably borderline if he was still running through the line. So it's a tough one. And when you chuck in Mitchell Moses doing 25 pirouettes and a backflip before he throws that pass, who knows where it would have ended up if he got hit. So obviously we'll move past there. It is your team. They've gone from 15th. They finished third. They were, if you look at that 52nd minute, 28 minutes away from a grand final against the Panthers, the big dance, massive improvement. What went right this season and ultimately what didn't go right in this game to allow the Eels into it and to turn around an 8-point deficit with 20 minutes to go?
First of all, we're going to hats off to Mitch Moses. Flies up on the day of his firstborn child, his little girl. Took big guts because I know if I did that to my wife, I would be easily divorced straight away. So
you wouldn't be here right now if you did that to your wife. That's all you've got to say.
Yeah, I don't think many men would be allowed, but it's the biggest game of his life. And they needed him. It showed. But what went right for our this year? Last year we had a new coach that sort of was trying to come across as a little bit too hard too early, reducing Tamalolo's minutes early, put him on blast. The first week against Penrith at Penrith Park, sort of was learning on the run of how to be a head coach there. And I think this year he sort of nailed it down in the preseason. Had a longer preseason, obviously not making finals, so we had the whole month of September to sort of work it out. As I said in previous pods, that as soon as we were doing some ball sessions that he didn't like and it wasn't working, up we go, up Castle Hill Mountain and put the joggers on and run for hell. I think it's just an influx of good talent. Chad Townsend, a premiership winning half. Pia Iku, a solid centre, did help. Re-signing of Jeremiah Nanai for an extra year was pretty good. So, I think it was just that we had an old head in the middle and a few young players. A lot of the young players around, and you got senior players like Val, Peter Iku, Chad Townsend, Jordan McLean, who can sort of push other players in the right direction, and hopefully we can come home a little bit stronger next season. What went for us wrong? I think it was the sort of youth that we had, a little bit of experience. Cotter at the start of the year, we sort of tried him out at dummy half. You look at him now and you go, he's not a dummy half player. We had Reece Robson coming from the Dragons, not really the best place to come from. His CV wasn't the best, so he pushes Jake Granville out and takes that starting position. We just got a few things to work on. I think that game against the Roosters where you sort of exploded through the middle third of us. We need to sort of work on our defense a little bit there. Attacking wise, we're pretty good. We're ranked the first, I think the best or the second best attacking side in the last 20 minutes of every game. So attack wise, we're pretty good. I think it's just a little bit of defense where I think we need to go buy another experienced middle forward. I think Jordan McLean's on his way out with age. So it would be good to get another senior player in the middle there to sort of, when the times are tough, they can the young ones can look to him and say, "Oh, I've been there before." Maybe like someone like Dale Finucane, who you can just look at him and go, "Okay, he's been there before. He can lead us on a path." Sort of the rest of the boys to take that path onwards. Someone like him would be good. There's not many out there, so I think we'll have to pay a little bit of overs if we really want one there. But other than that, what do you reckon?
Well, I mean, you've obviously summed up the Cowboys quite well with this game. A little bit of inexperience maybe caught you out in that back end. I'm going to look more towards the Eels, and I think if you go back 12 months, I just don't see him winning this game. 20-12 down, going into the final 20 minutes in Townsville. Majority of those times you kind of write off the Eels, but I look to obviously a few big plays. You had Sean Lane, who in that final 10 minutes, even that whole game, probably played the game of his life. He took the intercept on the 40-meter line. He then made 2 crucial tackles right at the end. Like, I just don't see him making those tackles 12 months ago. I then look at Mitchell Moses. I think there was about 6 minutes to go. He's a down 4. Tomalolo lines up straight at him. And you know what? Again, I expected him to run straight over him, put him on the floor, put the ball down. But Mitchell Moses steps up. He was there, obviously, like you said, missing his kid's birth, lost his grandmother, had all these fins that he was fighting for, brings down Tomalolo. Sean Lane on the next set, brings someone down a meter out from the line. They win the ball, they win the game. So for me, it's the Eels' experience. Obviously, they haven't been here before, but the experience they have from playing constant finals is what got them the upper hand against the Cowboys, who haven't played finals last year. So, yes, the Eels got knocked out in round 1, yada, 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 but they're in the finals. They know what it takes. That's my foot on the Eels. What do you think?
Yeah, they talk about this window of opportunity. This is the strongest this Eels squad is ever going to get for a while. After this year, obviously, you lose Reed Marnie to the Dogs, Isaiah Papali'i to the Tigers. A few other players I think need to.
Maybe.
They need to.
He said he won't talk about if he's going to backflip or not, so maybe.
Oh, well, look, at the moment, we can only go with what we've got at the hand, and at the moment, he's going. So this window, there's not a lot of great nines out there. Do the Eels? Has Ben Hunt signed at the Dragons? Would you take him as a 9? Just for that little bit of experience in the middle, where he can sort of put balls in for Ramku Gillard, Junior Paulo. He can sort of lead in that middle for 80 minutes at the park. Would you go down that route, or would you look for a maybe a up and coming 9 and sort of give him the time and effort to let him grow into being an NRL first grader? I don't know what they're looking at. They've still got 1 game to go, so we shouldn't even be talking about the off season for them. RCG, he scores a double.
Game of his life.
Another controversy gets rubbed out of game 2 and 3 of Origin, but yeah, he's Big Mal's already put him as his starting forward prop. So, what does the bloke have to do more to get that Origin jersey?
He has to have someone that will stand up to the Panthers players. Let's just put it that way.
Look, I think that little hatred needs to F off, really, because it is what it is, and it was so many years ago. So don't worry about it. It's past the past. Let's move on. And for all those Eels fans out there, enjoy grand final week for what it is. Go to the open sessions when they're upon you. Go and see the players up close. Go see Brad. Let Brad little breathe, because they always say the team that's more relaxed and enjoys this week coming into the weekend is usually the team that wins. So I won't give away my predictions for the grand final, but if I can give one sort of tip to the Para fans, go and enjoy it. Enjoy it while you can. Go to parties, be up and proud, even if you do lose this year, you made it. There's 14 other teams that didn't, so be proud that you could hold your head high and that you made grand final week.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously that's my fear for this side. If you speak, a few legends have been coming out and just saying that they weren't really prepared the times they did make the finals. Most importantly, that won against Newcastle, and I think it was 2001. They came out. They didn't prepare well that week.
Sorry,
You had
can you play that song, because I was there that grand final, and that was a terrible time.
But honestly, that's what it showed. It was a team that didn't have any experience compared to a team that had the likes of the Johns brothers there. And ultimately that told. So I think as a Para fan, although you want to be up and close, you want to congratulate the players, you want to get photos, you want to get autographs, they're there. Take photos from a distance. If they're willing to take photos, let them do it. If they're not, let them enjoy the week, because the teams that win the grand finals, like you said, are the teams that go in the most relaxed. But Baxter, we are hitting that 16 minutes, so I am going to let you have the final say on this game, on the Cowboys, on the Eels, and then we'll jump into the demolition derby that was Penrith taking on the Rabbitohs.
What a game.
What a game. We'll leave it there. We'll jump straight across. Obviously, it was the Penrith Panthers 32, South Sydney 12. It was an absolute demolition derby. Funnily enough, both scores were 12-4 at halftime. So that's what you want in preliminary football. Possession 52-48, completion rate 83-72, even errors at 10, and the Panthers ran 363 meters more. Jumping into the scores, it was Api Coruscant in the 35th, Brian Toto in the 39th, Spencer Lenu in the 44th, Isaac Targo in the 54th, Nathan Cleary to wrap it up in the 77th. He went 6 from 6 with the boot. Cody Walker in the 11th, Richard Kenner in the 18th. Still not sure if he went out. I still haven't seen a replay to show me if he went out or not, but we'll leave it there. And Latrell Mitchell 2 from 2, and obviously the big talking point of this game, Tane Milne sent from the field. Baxter, what were your thoughts on this game? What were your thoughts on the send-off? And where did South Sydney go so right for the first 30 minutes and so wrong for the last 50?
Oh, I actually forgot that it was on. Obviously, being the next day, I didn't really care. I was more worried about the AFL final and giving it all these Swans fans, so it was better to watch that and give it a go. But I missed the start of it, and then I watched the first half.
Did the Swans show up for the AFL game? Just quickly, have they showed up
nah,
yet, or are they still on the same bus?
There's a bowler out for the Victorian Police. I'm trying to find 22 red and white Swan, so-called Swan players out and about. Last located at around the Richmond area, the MCG. So if you can help anybody out, the Victorian Police, please call them and let them know where you've seen them. But back to the better game at hand, the better league, or the better code of football here in Australia. I watched the first 40 minutes. Now, South won that first half in the first 37 minutes or whatever it was. My worry for Penrith is you give any team a 37-minute head start on anybody against you, you're going to get crumbled in a grand final. Time is essential. You can only look to the future. Well, luckily they made it back to 12-all at half time. So, but you give it to a good side. As we talk about 2001 Knights, 2018 and 2019 Roosters, 2015 Cowboys, 2016 Sharks. The list goes on. You give them a 37-minute head start on the opposition, and I'm telling you now, it's going to be more than 12. You give Para this upcoming grand final day a 37-minute head start, and I'm telling you they're going to score more than 12. As I said, luckily they got back to 12-all. It looked like when South ran out from the highlights, they looked tired. I think the momentum of playing week in, week out football into the finals, and then they had to play two sort of grand final style like games against the Roosters to round 25 and first week of the finals. I think that the wind was out of their sails. They looked tired and they couldn't compete on a stamina wise with Penrith having the week off. Tyrone Mill, 6 weeks. He's going to cop it. He is. I think it was the right call for the style of tackle. Both feet were off the ground. There was no attempt really to tackle. So 6 weeks is enough. People are talking about, should he be suspended for the World Cup, or should he serve that suspension next year? I think he's going to get called up for the Fijian squad. So there's 3 games. So you're going to miss him for the first 3 games next year, at least, if Fiji don't get out of their group stage at the World Cup. So other than that, it was a good game within the 80 minutes.
Yeah, like you said, obviously Milne, he is going to serve a few of those games at the World Cup. It's a tough one. Obviously, Tomalolo came out and said, "Why am I being punished at a rep level for what happened in a game?" Now, although I do agree, the only downside to that is if I go to a World Cup and let's say he does that in a World Cup final, it costs Australia, it costs New Zealand, or it costs England the World Cup because his team now wins by 2 points. How many years do you have to go before he might not get picked in another 4 years' time? So, hey, if it's a 79th,
I would say, like, if you do it and this is just talking from a soccer/football kind of sense, like if you, like, we always know that if you do it at a higher level and you get suspended, you can always use your suspensions at a club level. So let's just say he does it in the final and he gets a 6-week suspension. He's out. I'm happy with him serving that suspension on top of his already 3-game suspension. So he's already out for the first 9 games of the NRL season of 2023. I'm happy with that.
So you're saying it can come from international across, but not club across?
No, because it's too hard to go up. Why should he be punished at an international level? I don't believe he should. Like, he's been punished at a club level. Let him use those 3 games at a club level. And if you're at an international one, say it's the first week and he gets suspended for 2 games, well then yes, he can miss the next 2 games of the international World Cup group stage. But if it's more and he's knocked out, well then serve the rest at clubland. I'm happy with that. Like, I don't see a problem with that. If he gets suspended in the 75th minute for the World Cup final, he gets 6 weeks. Unfortunately, you got to serve it for the Cowboys. I got no problem with it.
Yeah, 100% agree. Now, obviously, I guess we'll go back to that controversial. It didn't matter in the end, but obviously that Luai assist, no try, Shepherd obstruction, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's black and white. We spoke about this, but does there need to be next year some sort of common sense? Like, the player wasn't impeded. The player was never taking the tackle. And I actually saw a video today, and it's interesting. Watch it back after. They said if Luai's try assist was a no try due to an obstruction, go back and watch the Benji Marshall flick pass from the grand final. When he makes that break, there's a player here. He runs behind his player, and the guy can't get to him. So if you want to go based on black and white, you'd be eliminated one of the best tries in grand finals history. So it's touch and go.
Rule it out.
It's touch and go.
I know who they played. I know who they played in the 2005 grand final, and I'll happily take that. But no, it's black and white. You can't catch a ball. You can't have a ball on one side of the shoulder running around to the other side of the shoulder, and this is where I say it is black and white, and these sort of incidents now cause grey areas. We want to be black and white so we can go, this is a foul, this isn't a foul. And at the moment it is a foul because he's run around and he's done the obstruction shepherd rule, whatever it is. So I'm happy with the way it is. Let's not try, like, we all talk about, oh, Luai, it should be a try. Well, mate, it's black and white. It's a shepherd. It's a obstruction. Leave it how it is, because the more we go, oh no, this should be obstruction, that shouldn't be obstruction. Well, then where does that margin happen? Does the player have to be 2 meters, and then what? They got to get the tape measure out in the bunker. Like they've already got enough problems up there in their $2 million season studio thing, whatever. So I just think leave it how it is, black and white. That's it.
Well, let's go into black and white. Stephen Crichton, disallowed try, gets around his player. The video ref's exact words were Stephen Crichton gets to the ball, however, doesn't put it down with forceful pressure. I have seen tries given this year where a player gets a fingernail on the ball, doesn't even push it down, and it's given a try. There's a still image. I'm going to use my phone as an example here. There's a still image where the ball is on the floor and Crichton has his hands on top of it. What more downward pressure do you need?
I didn't really see this one, so I didn't really. I heard about it and I was just like, it's not really worried because in the grand scheme of things, Penrith won. So I was just like, does it really
pretty much they ruled that when he put his hand on the ball, it didn't actually force it down, it forced it forward, and that's why it's not a try. But again, there's a still image that's his hand on the ball while the ball's on the floor. So again, $2 million a season, and the bunker cannot stay.
That's where I reckon with these like captain challenges, right? With the bunker cannot get involved until the captain decides to use his challenge, and then
it'll be 10 times worse. It'll be 10 times worse.
Because I can sit here and I can live with human error. I've sat here and I can live with the Mitch Moses forward pass. I can accept it because it's human error.
So you could live if a ref points to the ground and a minute later you see that the player stood out by a meter. You're happy for that to be a try?
Okay, let's just bring it back. Instead of the pressure being on the bunker, why can't the pressure be on? Let's just use this weekend for example. Let's just say Eels are up by 2. Nathan Cleary puts a cutout pass to Brian To'o, and he puts his foot on the line and he scores. We don't look at any replays. We just play on. Then they go, well, why shouldn't it look? Well, Mitch Moses, the captain of the Parramatta Eels, has a captain challenge up. He said he should have used it. You know, it's all the pressure on the players. They're playing the game because they come for a system, right? They come for a system where captain challenges, replays, and all that, and it's all based on human error and what they deem to rule it as. So why does it get complicated for there? Why can't it just be okay? We'll have a look now. You know, like
I think you need to scale it back. They do need to scale it back. They do need to cut their involvement. But I think anything for a try, they do need to look at because we say we can sit here, we say we can live with it, but can we really live if we lose a grand final and the player was half a meter out and I lost my challenge because of a technical call or something? I wouldn't be able to live with that. And I think 99% of fans would not want to live with that.
We could try and jig it. You know, we got obviously the World Cup doesn't have captain's challenges in it, so it's going to be interesting watching this World Cup with a 10-man interchange bench. There's another rule. No captain's challenges, and this bunker looking at tries after it's been done, and that it's going to go back to the good old days where there was like less technology and there was just more football. I'm going to love it.
Well, 100%. It's going to be definitely very interesting. We talk about the South Sydney Rabbitohs looking a bit tired. There was reports that Latrell Mitchell did have to get injections before the game, after the game. I don't think it's specified exactly where it was, but for me, it wouldn't shock me if it was around that ribcage area because he did go down against the Roosters. He did then hold him last week. It could be his calf. It could be his hamstring. It could be anything, but it'll be interesting to see what comes up because he probably is a shoo-in to play centre for Australia. But my next question to you before we sign off and we do move into our Dally M prediction, Coach of the Year prediction, Team of the Year prediction, Latrell Mitchell is coming under scrutiny. Is he a fullback? Is he better at centre? Should he be moved? Now, as a Souths, if I was a South supporter right now, what am I more scared of if I'm not a South supporter? I'm more scared of Latrell running at me from centre 7 times a game rather than Tane Milne running at me. You put Latrell there, you let him run at him. It's a lot more scary. Then the flip side, he might have been injured. He might have had a sore hamstring, but Nathan's Cleary's try. You put the best fullbacks, a Tedesco, and Edwards, a Pappenhausen, Even the hammer when he was playing for the Cowboys at fullback, Valentine Holmes when he was there, that gets swept up. They're not standing in the line trying to defend. That gets swept up. They try to get back into 7
What's
tackles.
this? His third year at fullback? Is it third year at South or second?
No, second. Oh, no, third. 20. Oh, second. 20. No, 2020. Yeah, third. 2022.
Okay, so it's his third year at fullback. Let's look at all the other fullbacks that we talk about, so-called greats, right? We'll look at their third year at playing fullback. Like, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see the comparison. You know, we use the great players that are in a game right now. We'll look at Dylan Edwards, his third full season at fullback. We'll look at Teddy at his third full season at fullback. We'll look at Pappenhausen when he's not concussed or a broken knee. We'll look at Tommy T. We'll look at Billy Slater. We'll look at Anthony Minicello. The list can go on.
But I think the biggest thing is this isn't his third year in the NRL. All these players
I would say look at their third year at being a fullback.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's had how many years experience playing centre? He knows how to play the game. These kids were thrown in raw. They were thrown in raw at fullback.
No. Billy Slater made his debut on the wing. Anthony Minicello made his debut on the wing.
Yeah, but the game's changed. The game's changed since Billy Slater and Anthony Minicello. The game's changed.
Dylan Edwards had how many years at fullback before he's gone into the greats? Look at James Tedesco. He had 2 or 3 flop years at the Tigers before he was bought by the Roosters. So
anyone can have a flop year at the Tigers. It's not that hard.
Oh well, most of it he was actually in. He got a bit injured there, but you know, like I'd like to see how those great NRL fullbacks were in their third full year at fullback role, and just see how they compared to Latrell. Like, you know, you look at Greg Inglis, how he made his switch from 6 to 3 to 1. You know, even he wasn't the greatest, but you talk about you look at his highlight reel at fullback, and he was just that dominant machine at fullback for South. So
I don't want to compare, but Latrell reminds me of what Suali'i once played in that fullback position. Are they ready? They're probably better in other positions. If they want that for the money, they're going to chase it. But I just think he's a better center. He's the best center in the world when he plays in that center position.
Oh, no doubt.
If you're Souths, you put him in the center. You know what? You can still offer him that contract he wants. Put him in the center. Get Blake Taaffe, who's on almost nothing, or get a cheap fullback from somewhere from the youth system. Bring him up. Best of both worlds. You can shift Latrell there if you need him, like they do Munster at Storm. You can shift him back to center.
There's a little.
Or who?
Would you do this? Like, okay, so there's a little rumor going around. Now it's not with South at the moment, but there's a pair of brothers on the North Shore. I'm not going to name who they are. There's a rumor that they're looking to move elsewhere. Now, if you're South, right, let's just do a hypothetical thing. If you're South, would you say, Latrell, you're not a fullback, you're going back to 3, Tommy going to 1, and Jakey comes into the squad as well?
I wonder who he's speaking about now when he didn't want to name names, but he's throwing them straight out there.
But imagine you put in those two, like, would you, okay, let's just say you had Tommy and Latrell in your team. Who do you put fullback? Who do you put center? Because they both can do it at center, and they can both do a good job at fullback.
Is Tommy going to play again? Are his hamstrings all right? Like, is he going to be able to play?
He needs to just stop running on the streets.
He needs to just sign for Souths purely so they can send him to America and he can see the same doctor that Latrell saw. That's the only reason he needs to sign for Souths, and then he can go back to Manly.
Imagine that. Imagine the Tommy T brothers and Latrell and Cody and Cookie and Murray. Oh, what a
you know what? If that happens, we will be clipping that and we'll be playing it for years to come because it'll be the biggest call in NRL history. But there is the rumor that they are looking to move. But yeah, you clip it. I don't care. Use it. I don't believe South Sydney will be able to keep all them with the players currently coming off contract and bring those 2 players in. Maybe the sombrero comes out. Maybe the sombrero comes out and the Roosters kind of slip them under the salary cap with a few houses. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, it will be the Eels taking on the Panthers in the Battle of the West in the grand final. Cracking game. Preview still to come. But In the next episode that you will be listening to, we will be going for our team of the year, our coach of the year, and obviously our Daily M prediction. Backstart, quick, early prediction before anything else happens. Who are you picking and why?
Who am I picking for
If
what?
you had to pick right now before the grand
teams go
final
out.
team that's come out, who are you picking and why?
I'm picking Parramatta because I don't like to see a team go back to back for grand final wins. It is my solely purest reason why I want Parra to win. But I also want Penrith to win so I can keep the mockery and the meme going for Parramatta fans. And that's the sole reason I want Parramatta to lose. So I'm gonna go.
Well, you know what?
I'm gonna go Penrith by 2.
All right, well, there you have. He has Penrith by 2. I do have Penrith winning. I would love for the Eels to upset purely so these boys are the only ones that can go back to back. But Baxter, thank you for joining me. And obviously, we'll talk soon.